I got a new trial for you guys, and we're not in Florida. We get to go get on a bus, head north on I-95, and we're going to end up in New Hampshire for this one. Yeah, the film crew, they're on the bus too. So the producer, everybody, they're all on the bus. We're all the way to Concord. Anyway, you guys, this is an interesting one. Well, I always pick the interesting ones, right? But there's some background on this one. All you got to do, because there's a reason Long Crime and Court TV picked these out. And you just got to figure out what is that reason. And I've got that for you right after this intro. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rebecca, your host of Crafting in Crime Daily. This is the show where I recap live trials so you have something to listen to while you're creating all your masterpieces, whether it's diamond painting, which is what you see in the background here, crocheting, I'm finishing up a blanket, Legos, whatever you're doing. Put this on in the background and give it a listen. So currently covering the case of the state of New Hampshire versus Dustin Duren, who at the time of this event was 37 years old. He was in a relationship with a woman named Caitlyn Naffziger. She was 31 years old. He is on trial for her murder. Yeah. So, before we get into it, though, would you mind hitting that thumbs up button? I would really appreciate it. Also, hype the video. It's a new thing. Just scroll down there. You'll see hype. Hype the video. You get points. Everybody gets points. It's a fun little thing. Anyway, I haven't figured out the whole point thing, but, do it. Let's have fun. And subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this Dustin Duren and Caitlyn Naffziger. So I know very little about what these two did career-wise, even after listening to the opening statements. Apparently, they had been together for 4 years. They had 2 small children. One at the time of this was a year old. The older one was 4 years old. 4 years old. And the cutest names. Oh my God, I love these names. Elowen, like Eloise, but then they changed it to L-O-N, like between Ellen and Eloise. So we're going to go with L-O-N. I love that. And Balin was the younger one. I think I have that right. Yeah, Balin was the younger. Elowen was the 4-year-old. In any case, he's charged with second-degree murder, which means they're not looking to show the jury that he had any intent ahead of time to commit this murder. But second-degree meaning sort of heat of passion, and he also obviously used a deadly weapon, a 9mm firearm. He's an ex-Marine, or maybe he was still a Marine. We do know he was in the Marines. I don't know if he was in the Marines when all this went down and he's not in the Marines anymore. I have no idea. But in any case, he was looking to move to New Hampshire. Both of them lived in Wisconsin. Am I right? Wisconsin, one of those really northern states. I believe it was Wisconsin. And they wanted to move, or is it Minnesota? I don't know. One of those states. Anyway, he wanted to move to New Hampshire because he was a libertarian. And there's a group called, what's it called? Free State Project. It's this group of libertarians, and they decided, similar to what the Mormons do, they're going to gather everybody in one place, and they're going to make their own like community. Like all the Mormons kind of went to Utah. They've chosen New Hampshire because one of the reasons they say was a low population, below 1.2 million. This was back, this organization of this Free State Project started way back in like early 2000s. By 2010, what they were doing was they were gathering commitments from people to move to New Hampshire with your family and participate in this Free State Project and promote the libertarian view of the world. And what that is they don't want any government involvement. They're all sovereign citizens. If you know what a sovereign citizen is, they don't want anything to do with the government. They want minimal government involvement. The most they want is like police that will come in and help you guard your property and your stuff. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want schools. They don't want any of that stuff. We'll do it on our own. We don't need the government. This is what he wanted to move. He wanted to be one of these people that made this commitment. They were looking for 20,000 people to move to New Hampshire to form this libertarian community called the Free State Project. As of now, I think that they got less than 1,000 people. This started in early. This has been going on for 25 years. They've got less than 1,000, but they've already committed. They've already moved. They're starting it out, and no real mission because they're anti-government, so they're not really organized. But in any case, this was him. He wanted to move to New Hampshire, wanted to participate in this Free State Project. Now, what the mother of his children thought about this, I don't know. But she comes down to New Hampshire to check out the apartment that he has chosen for them to live in or for him to live in. But so she comes down and she's checking out his apartment, which is why she was at this location. And it wasn't clear to me whether I think he had already rented it and was already moved into this apartment. So she's down there checking it out. And the girls are with them. And she's got the older girl, Elowen in her lap. And they're arguing. And he wants her to leave and she won't leave. And now he's fearful that she is going to kidnap the kids, that she's going to leave and take the kids. And this is, according to the defense, this is what's in his head. He believes that she's going to kidnap his children and take them away from him. He's arguing with her. She won't leave. The Marine in him, his instinct was he saw a 9mm gun. He wanted to grab it. He knew it was within her reach, and he was afraid she was going to get that gun and steal the kids. And so he grabbed the gun first, took Elowen off of her mother's lap, shot the mother of Elowen's mom in the head while he's holding her, takes the two girls and takes off. Puts the two girls in the car. He's gone. He's out of there. So he gets to Concord. I don't know how far that is from where they started out. Gets to Concord and decides he's going to call his parents. So he calls his mom. His father did take the stand yesterday. Calls his mom. Now, I don't know if mom is not available, but this guy was not allowed to testify about the phone call, just that he could overhear her end of the phone call, and knew that it was a lengthy phone call, 5 to 10 minutes. It was with her son. And when she got off the phone, she told her husband that he had taken the girls. He had shot the mother. She was in his apartment, but nobody knew. Shot the apartment. And so the father calls the local police, and they send someone over to the apartment. So the police get to the apartment. She's dead on the couch. Feet propped up. They put a crime scene detective. This is the two people that took the stand yesterday. The initial responding officer, the dad, and a crime scene detective who was the lead detective, but their job was also to collect the evidence. I never heard of the lead detective being the CSI, and I wasn't sure what they were going to testify to. But for the most part, yesterday was like, here's the Pharaoh scan that I did. They did a Pharaoh scan, which that's where they do the 3-dimensional film of the whole thing. But of course, they showed it to the jury, but not us. We didn't get to see it. So they do a scan of everything, realize the kids are gone, the husband's gone. So they don't know what's happened. They don't know, they never found the weapon in the home. They found a shell casing on the couch. They found a loaded magazine, and they didn't find the gun. And they did not know what had happened. So they put out an Amber Alert for him and the girls. So his plan, when he talked to his parents and told them about her body, he knew things were going south, and he's like, I need to go dark for a little while, spend some time with the girls, and then I'll turn myself in. But meantime, so he shuts his phone off, goes dark, so they don't know how to find him. So meantime, he decides he's going to swing into Applebee's to buy kids breakfast. A passerby, sees him. They recognize the car from the Amber Alert. They call the police, and he is arrested at the Applebee's. And he actually cooperates. I guess we're going to see the police interview. It was a lengthy police interview. We're going to see that. I don't think there's a 911 call to be heard. So we're not hearing a 911 call. It was more of a, hey, can you go check up on my son? Got to call my son's wife or girlfriend. He says he shot her. She was, of course, deceased. She had been shot in the head, single gunshot wound. So we're going to hear from the medical examiner during this thing. But here's the thing. I looked up this Free State Project because I thought, wow, that's so interesting. They were all going to move to this one place and sort of be anti-government. They weren't going to pay taxes. They were going to do their own schooling. Some of them that moved there actually ran for political office, and so a lot of these libertarians do hold offices there, and they just get rid of government. They cut the budgets. They cut the budget to the seniors. Yes, they just cut everything out of the government. So, but here, there's a couple of effects that this has had in New Hampshire, which I thought was really interesting. An increase in known sex offenders moving here to this area because no one's keeping track of them. You can live in the woods. You can live wherever you want. You just pitch a tent. You can live wherever you want. Yeah. An increased bear attacks. What? Bear attacks? Like, how did this woman start off talking about a trial and now we're talking about bear attacks? Yes, the effect that this movement has had has increased bear attacks because these people refuse to put their garbage into the government cans, I guess. And I don't know how they're disposing of their garbage, but the bears are getting into it, and now they're coming closer to the humans, and things are happening. Let's all go to New Hampshire. I'll pack. I'll meet you at the bus. Yeah. When the bus pulls up, I'll be there. I'll be right there. Anyway, so he's in custody. He's here. The defense, let me just, some quick comments about the opening statements. Prosecution, horrible. Just awful. They kept saying the same thing. He kept saying the same thing. And I kept waiting for him to get in. Okay, the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show he's guilty. Okay, how? Okay. It was not a very good opening at all. If I was the jury, you lost me. Why are we here? Wait a minute, what? And they did not mention any of this free state stuff that we talked about today. Jury doesn't know any of that. I just wanted you guys to know. In any case, what did I say before? It was Minnesota. I decided. I wrote it down. It's Minnesota. What was I saying? Wyoming, Mississippi. What? I don't know which state I chose. They lived in Minnesota. Anyway, and then New Hampshire ends up with this case. They end up having to foot the bill for this murder trial. Anyway, yeah. So the prosecution, they do their thing. It's not lengthy. It's repetitive. It's boring. It doesn't tell you a thing. You're going to hear from the medical examiner. You're going to hear his confession. And there probably doesn't have to be a whole lot because here they just have to show that he was not in fear for his life. Because his attorney got up and she seems relatively new as a defense attorney. Like she doesn't seem like she's got an entire wealth of experience behind her, but she's doing a good job. She's very methodical, very slow, very detailed. You can tell she writes everything out. She had an intro. This is a case about broken promises, secret plans. And right away, that's drawing the jury in. Ooh, promises, plans. I don't know what those were. I can't remember. I think she had a great that got me, but then I never heard the rest. So bottom line is he thought his daughter was in danger. She was going to grab that gun and hurt the daughter. By the way, the father testified, and this was his duty weapon. He was a police officer. He was in the Marines, and he was a police officer for a number of years. His last service revolver. This was his last service revolver, and he gave it to his son. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing was when the responding officer testified, the first responding officer, when he got there, the apartment was padlocked. Not only did this man take those two girls after shooting their mother in the head, he takes the two girls out of the apartment and then padlocks the door so nobody can get in and help her. They had to break the padlock to get in to find the daughter. How crazy is that? Yeah. All right. So more on this trial to come. And I apologize. There was no live last night. I got into a little bit of a car accident yesterday. So yesterday the violins were playing. I was, boo-hooing, and we're done with that. I'm done. We're moving forward. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.